things in preparation for this game?
Yeah, no, obviously we're probably one of the more severely hit areas of the country, really. So obviously the snow has sort of interrupted the training program, but it is what it is, Rob, and we understand it. These conditions happen, and we just be adaptable, and we just get ready to head down south. All accounts and reports that everything's fine in the south, so we don't envisage the game being in any harm tomorrow. What I probably will say to our fans, really, that if they can travel early, just make your way early, really, because with the conditions here going below freezing, and to get up early tomorrow Saturday morning and travel down there, you know, our away day travel has been absolutely magnificent, and I would hate them to miss it. So if you can leave early, just leave early and have a safe journey down.
How keen are you for it to not snow down there? Because you've had a few occasions, haven't you, where you've set off and then the game gets called.
Yeah, and hopefully not, Rob. I mean, by all accounts, to the secretary Lindsay, everything from down there seems to be fine. So hopefully we'll set off and everything will be fine tomorrow, and just get down. Then, as I said, you know, we'll be leaving in a bit now to make our way down there, and hopefully we won't have no hold-ups and everything will be fine for tomorrow.
Any injury news going into the game, Darren?
No, I think we've got, you know, Reece James has come back now this week, seems fine and well, and Fizz Bishuru's back, seems fine and well, really. So there's probably been one or two added to the group, really, and we know that Marvin serves his last game of his suspension this weekend.
Overall, what kind of shape is the squad in with a couple of months to go now? Do you feel quite happy with where you are in terms of health?
Yeah, I think if I was sort of ultra picking now, I think I would like probably a Patterson back and a Malik Wilkes back, really, to give us a little bit of added dimension at that front end of the pitch. But they're making good progress and they're showing good signs. So, you know, hopefully they'll continue on the journey that they've had. So, and I think probably those would probably be the two to add to the group that we've got now without losing anybody. And then that way you've got sort of all the right components in the places to really, as you're getting into this busy period next week onwards, where we're getting those 2 games a week, really, to have that squad back would be favourable.
What does it take to create a consistent team, Darren?
For me, a consistent team is taking care of the short-term objectives, really, and then making sure that you're applying yourselves in the right frame of mind. And in terms of that, is looking after yourself as an individual and making sure that the level of approach in terms of your work is absolutely spot on and concentrated. And that's what we've always focused on as a group, as a staff here at the club. And over the time, when you get individuals thinking about their own game and training and focus and preparation, then they're doing it individually, but then collectively as a group, you're doing it as one, Rob. And I think that's what we've done, and we've never really focused on and looked ahead. You know, you've always heard me say, since I've been here, it's just that the next game and it's on to the next one, and literally when you finish one, it's about approaching and moving on to the next one. And we've always had that mentality here, really, and that will continue despite where, you know, outside the messages, what's around the football club, how it may look. We'll just continue doing that, and making sure that we give our best version of ourselves. We've got a tough game tomorrow at Portsmouth. We know that we're going to have to be at our very level best. I know Fratton Park. I know the atmosphere down there. I know the club. They're a team that's in the ascendancy. At the last, I think, 11 games, he's had charge. I think they've picked up 6 results in terms of wins. So they're in good form, they're in decent form, and again, it's a different type of challenge for us, but it's a challenge that, you know, we've looked at, and it's a challenge that we look forward to, and a challenge that we're going to have to be at our best again.
I'm sure you're not remotely bothered about this, Darren, but you've not won Manager of the Month again, despite the form and the run that you've been on. But is there any part of you that is slightly irked by that lack of recognition? Because we all kind of want it in a little way, don't we?
That's nice that you want it in a little way, but for me, Rob, no, it doesn't really. Honestly, it doesn't really, whether it manager of the month or not. The biggest thing what bothers me is making sure that we're continuing to improve as a club, and that's my job, and that's my role, and that's my responsibility. To get recognition outside in the outer world, all I care about is us here at Sheffield Wednesday, really, and that's all I care about, really. And so whether you get the gong or not, it doesn't change Darren Moore at all. My focus and my mentality has always been for the football club, and continue to do that. So I've looked past it. I didn't even realise it was the manager of the month. You've just said it now. I didn't realise, because that's where my focus and my mentality is, really.
Final question. I don't know if you saw this, Darren. Did you see the chairman's celebrations after the latest win? He was waving a shirt on a stick like a flag. And I wondered, would you be tempted to join him in such a celebration if you win promotion?
Let's see if that day comes, Rob. You know, but I was more concerned for his safety, that he didn't fall off the side, really. But no, it was great to see him joining in, and he's a supporter. You know, even though he's the owner of the club for the game, he's a supporter, and it's great to see his emotions in that way and enjoying him with everybody else. And it's nice for people to see that our chairman is a human being like everybody else, and enjoying the moment and the win in the manner that he did was really nice to see. But yeah, we'll wait and see. And as I said, you know, we've got a lot of work to do before we even get to any moments like that.
Okay. Cheers, Darren. Thanks.
Cheers, thank you.
All the best.
Thanks, cheers, Rob.
Afternoon, Darren. How are you doing?
You okay, Joe?
Yeah, good. Thanks very much. Am I right in saying you guys leaving a little bit earlier than originally planned, given the weather?
Yeah, but that's what we're going to do, Joe. I think, like I said, it's just really Sheffield. I think once we can get out of Sheffield, I think the surrounding areas as we head down south is a lot more favourable for us, really. So, and with it being a long journey, Joe, I think we just want to get down and get out of the way and get settled, and get the team down south.
Presume some of the lads had an interesting trip into work today.
They did, yeah. We all did, really. And barring a couple of players that really got into a sticky spot, then they all got in. It's great to see them all in, really. So yeah, we're ready. We'll get the team coach here, and then we'll get off as soon as we can.
But obviously, you presume you weren't able to train at all today, given what's gone on. Are you looking to have like a session down there at all, or are you just going to deal with what you've got now?
Yeah, no, we'll deal with what we've got here now. We had a bit of a session yesterday. We've come in today, and we've gone in and used the gym sessions today to get the cardio going and everything else. And then we'll get down there, and then we'll do some more team prepping and everything when we get down south in terms of the game for tomorrow. But in terms of getting on the pitch and the physical elements of it, yeah, it's been disrupted over the last couple of days with the weather, but you have to be adaptable for these things, and that's what we've had to do.
Cool. With the side, you mentioned about you sort of, if you were being picky, you'd like to have someone like Callum back, someone like Malik back. You said when we spoke to you a couple of weeks ago or a week ago that you'd have a better idea of when they might be returning. Saw Malik say that he's getting a little bit closer now. Do you have a sort of an expected time for the return of those two just yet?
We think, again, I'm going to say loosely, another couple of weeks, Joe.
For both, or?
Yeah, probably maybe for both, or at least one of them. So we feel a couple of weeks, which will be a welcome boost. Only going into the games program that we've got coming up in a few weeks' time. But as I said, Smudger, Josh, Gregors have been deputising really, really well. But when those games start coming, if you got those little bit of added extra, then it just helps a bit more.
Absolutely. Going back to a former club of yours this weekend, how much do you like going back to the teams that you played at before?
Yeah, no, it's good because obviously for me, going back there as a former player, playing back there, you know the environment, you know the surroundings, you know the support base that they've got there, you know the club. So it'd be nice to go back into the environment. Obviously, you know, to go back there and bring a team back there in a competitive fixture is always a special moment. So really looking forward to the game. As I said, it's another part in football where, and a ground in football where you want to go and grace that arena and play it, because it's a wonderful place to go and play football. And you know, some of the players tomorrow will get that opportunity to do that, and me as a manager to manage in that environment. So it's really, really good, Joe. I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be good to see the former stomping ground again.
Excellent. Obviously, listening to the way the fan base are going now, people are allowing themselves to get a little bit giddy, a little bit carried away. Obviously, you want to keep that out of the team itself, but is it difficult to do that? You know, obviously confidence is good, but is it quite tough to make sure that everybody does stay level-headed all the way through?
Yeah, I can't. Again, Joe, I'm not going to go away from the fact of the outside noise and everything else. I find it relatively quite straightforward and easy to put to one side, because you know, I've illustrated my mentality from day one since coming in here at the football club. So I find it relatively quite straightforward because there's so much work to do, Joe. That's the reason why, really, because it's on to the next one, and we've been working hard again onto this one. The outside noise, I can't stop that, Joe. That's down to everything else. But we as a group of players and staff, we continue to work the same and look towards the next game, which is this one here tomorrow, and make sure that we're keeping our focus in terms of that we want to perform and we want to do well and we want to continue doing well. And then from the last performance, we always analyse what areas needed to be better, what areas was better and can be even better again. So there's always that, you're always pushing and thirsting to try and get better as a group and as a unit and as individuals. And because that's a consistent work, it helps you to keep that focus and momentum going. The only thing I've asked for the supporters and everything else with the club is to maintain that fervent support that you've always given us, and that you know, that loud, energetic atmosphere, because to the team it means a lot to us. It really does, and we're really, really grateful. We're grateful to know that we've got another away day sellout tomorrow, and it's great to see that them coming all that way down there to come and support us, and that's why I sent the message out earlier for them to travel safe, and all being well, we'll see them all tomorrow.
And just lastly for me, it probably falls under outside noise a little bit as well, but there's been a little bit written about in the national press about yourself and Wednesday and how well the club's doing. Do you take a lot of pride in that, in the fact that, you know, you came into a club that it was a mess in many ways, and you've come in and you've managed to turn it around to the extent where it's not just, you know, us lot in the local media writing about how well you're doing?
For me, Joe, obviously when we first come here, remember it's always been a joint effort. You know, everybody will signal, you know, Darren Moore being the manager, but it's a joint effort. I've tried to include everybody in it, you know, I remember our first interviews way back then, really, but everybody's joined in it. And I think if everybody can look back at the time when we then till now, I think everybody should give themselves some type of pat on the back, but up until the point, but we don't rest there, because there's so much more to do at the football club, and that's the factors that I'm trying to pull out there, that even though deemed what we have done thus far, we've done nothing yet, really. So we've got to keep maintaining and keep pushing forward. And that's why when you say about the outside noise, I'm very looking and thinking, yeah, it's great, but we haven't done anything yet, really, as a group, as a football club, as a fan base, really. And if we are to try and keep this momentum going, then it will take a continued work from everybody else. So my message has always been loud and clear. Let's us all just keep going, keep carrying on, keep pushing on, and keep giving the best version of ourselves and helping each other out in in a real difficult situation, but we'll cross these hurdles all together.
Brilliant. Thanks, Darren. Travel safe, Dan. I'll see you in Pompey.
Cheers, Joe.
Darren, how you doing? You okay?
Afternoon now, or morning, should say.
Well, just picking up on what you said there about players struggling to get in. How does that work? Because if I can't get into work, I open my laptop and do it from home. Obviously, footballers can't do that.
Yeah, but what we've done is, I'll give you an example. One of the players has happened to get a big seven-seater, and he's picked up 6 or 7 lads, and he just drove around the house and picked them up. Myself and the doctors just jumped out in one of the 4x4s and picked up and driven over towards Chesterfield and picked up another one of our players. Another player's come in on the train, and vice versa. So I'm just giving you some case scenarios, how we've had to sort of get in today to navigate against the weather conditions, and pleased to say that, you know, some of the players what was more living north stayed in Sheffield last night, just stayed over. Wise decision. Staff members stayed in Sheffield, wise decision. And that's why the group's currently together now, because people have made small sacrifices really to make sure that we're here today so we can travel south really. So I'm just giving you some of the case scenarios to get the team together now, and we're all here together as one, and then we get ready to head south.
Sounds like a Sunday team on there.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Who was the bus driver then?
Sorry, Josh Windass. Very good.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah. Excellent. Did you manage to get to Barnsley on Tuesday, and what did you make of Portsmouth in midweek?
Yeah, I went up there to watch the game, and as I said, you know, obviously Barnsley put them under a lot of pressure. They'll probably feel, you see the manager's notes after the game, he didn't feel that they had the best true version of themselves. But as I said, you know, they got back into the game early in the second half, and they'll probably feel a bit disappointed that they let the game get away from them really. So from their point of view, after a slow start, they got back into the game, and then just as when they looked like they had a bit of impetus, you know, Barnsley get the third goal, and the game gets away from them really. So again, you know, but a good team, you know, wonderful, good patterns to them, good shape to them, good organisations elements to them, which you see. And again, it's another game, Alex, that, you know, it's another a real good challenge, especially, you know, down there in their own backyard, and, you know, again, you know, a game that we got to be really ready for, in terms of ready for what's going to be thrown at us tomorrow.
John sort of spoke quite openly about the fact that they're playing out from the back, or confidence in their passing is sort of a work in progress. Is that an area that you have sort of highlighted as a place that Wednesday can sort of really challenge them in attack?
No, the professionals have got good patterns, as I said before. They've got wonderful patterns in playing. He's got a lovely football work ethic to them in terms of working with the ball and using the ball really well. Good patterns. He's got some good technicians within that group of players that he's got there. And as I said, you know, I think in the time that he's took there, he's managed to put his stamp on it very early, and always looking to improve and get better at that. And that's ultimately what he'll want to do. In terms of the results, he's gained some wonderful results. He's brought a solidity to the club. He's brought a consistency to the club. He's settled the football club down, and now he's just getting into the real fabrics of the team and looking to improve in every area. So again, you know, it's a game that, you know, we look and we see and we recognise, you know, at the level that they're in, they're a big club. They've got a large fan base that we know, and, you know, they're looking to continue the season on an upward trajectory motion and finish the season as strong as they can. And at this stage, there's everything to still play for. So we know that as a team, as we go down there, we know that we're going to have to be a really good version and a better version of ourselves than we was last week again to come away with any kind of result.
wanted to ask about Dominic CalvertLewin way back when, at the start of the season, the decision was made to take him out of the team, and you spoke quite openly about maybe little areas that he could improve on in terms of consistency and all the rest of it. How much work has gone into getting him to where he is at now? Because he's been excellent, hasn't he, the last few weeks?
Yeah, testament to Dom in terms of it. I remember Dom at the start of the season, there's been nothing the matter with him. If anything, Dominic CalvertLewin was probably trying too hard because he wants it. So sometimes it's just that element of just bringing him out. Sometimes when a player comes out and can look from his game from the outside, looking in the pitch, sometimes you can see contributing and telling factors. And I think at the end of the day, he was just trying too hard. He's so detailed and focused about his work. He's an absolute joy to work with, and I'm really pleased to have had the opportunity to come at this time to work with him, because he has all the attributes of being a real top central defender, but also at the same time, which I can illustrate to the supporters and everybody not watching, his extra work that he does after training, week after week, has definitely contributed in him playing his part on top of his game. He's solid, in and out possession, been very good, and we keep challenging him every single week to be even better, and he's got that temperament and that desire as well to want to be better himself. And whenever you've got an individual and a pro in that mindset and mentality, there's always room for improvement. So credit to him, and long may it continue.
Fantastic. How's David Stockdale?
He's okay now, Stockers. Yeah. He was the only one really that we've got a little bit of issues getting in today, because he had a tyre, he had a puncture, but he's on his way in, so he's okay. But in terms of training, he's trained the last 2 or 3 days, so he's been good.
Good stuff. I wanted to ask about Kieran Brennan. He's picked up an injury, isn't he, down there in Swindon? How's he doing, and how closely have you sort of monitored his progress?
Really close. Kieran Brennan's loan to Swindon, we've looked upon it exactly the same as we did with Cameron Dawson, to send him there to get some game time. In the game time, you get that frontline approach, decision making that match days only give you. You can train as much. Dawson's come back and we've seen the benefits what Dawson's had. Kieran Brennan was exactly the same. Unfortunately, he's picked up a shoulder injury, which has cut short the loan. So we brought him back to do his rehabilitation with us. He's going to require an operation, which he will have, and we'll get that done, and then we'll get him rehabbed and that. But that'll be the end of his season now for Kieran, and we'll get him ready for when we return back in pre-season. Hopefully this little incident won't hinder him too much, and hopefully by the time we get back to pre-season, we'll see Kieran have stepped on and come forward just like Cameron Dawson has done, and him being more in a competitive edge where he's looking to start games for the first team and play consistent football from the start. So hopefully, but that we'll know that with Kieran in pre-season. Yes,
you're very much looking at what he's achieved at Swindon. He's able to step up, and you're looking at him as first team player next year.
Yeah. That's why we sent him there, and the game time that he's had, because you can have all the training, like I said, Alex, but you need to channel that training into games when it becomes to decision making, and not only that, but the games, by playing games, repetition every single week, your game improves 20-30%. You become stronger, you become robust, you become more detailed with your work, your decision making's better, your experiences of going into different environments and arenas, handling opponents differently, how to, as a central defender, where to use your body, your heading contact time, your passing details on the ball, your information that you're giving to the boys. All those things roll into a professional footballer's psyche in terms of developing as an individual. And Kieran Brennan's had that over a large amount of games at Swindon Town, a football club at the level there he's at. That's a big club in that level and expected to do things, and he's been very much part of that, really. So he's done really well, but as I said, we're really sad that he's been cut short by a couple of months. But he'll return back with us now, and as I said, he'll get his rehabilitation done and be ready for pre-season.
Good stuff. Lastly from me, I want to ask about the 3 youngsters that are training with you. So pictures of them still knocking about. How are they getting on? Are you seeing an arc of improvement? And how are they coping with the increased tempo and all the rest of it?
Yeah, good. Sean, Rio and Adam, very much been part of the first team group. Where they're at in their young careers is good because, playing against the senior players. But we've seen all 3 of them come on leaps and bounds really in terms of training with us every single day. If they're not getting the sufficient game time for the first team, then we drop them back down in the 23s to give them some match minutes, which they got the other day. But their development and progression's been really, really good. 3 different players in every essence really. They bring certain different qualities to the team, but 3 of them have definitely got the attributes to definitely be in and around the first team and certainly carve out a career in the game.
That's great. Thanks very much for that, Darren.
Thanks. Cheers, Alex.
Hi, Darren. You okay?
Hi, Ricky.
How useful has the dome at Middlewood been this week? With preparations, 'cause obviously, in terms of having that as an asset.
Ricky, you know what? The dome is deflated. It's gone down. So right now, I'm looking out here now, and I'm going to share with you now, and to all the people, we do not have a dome at all because just the weather conditions. So we don't have it really. So it's not been any use at all for us, unfortunately. So something that we'll need to look into really going forward.
The dome is done.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So how does that kind of impact then? Because obviously we saw the pictures of you training. I think it was yesterday. But I mean, in terms of how it affects, just drills and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, what we did, credit to the staff and the ground staff and us as the staff all got together and we managed to clear a decent sized area on the pitch. So we were able to get out and get some work done yesterday. So that was really important yesterday. But with the snow that's fallen again overnight, it was just impossible for us to get out there today and get the manpower to get it off the pitch so we could train again. So we've had to work and use other measures to get the boys' cardiovascular systems to a level. And then what we'll end up doing is look to the virtue really in classroom work really in terms of it. At this stage of the season, the players know how we work and everything else. And there's a complete trust in the players, in the group of players, in terms of their mentality and understanding. So we'll work with it from that aspects. But yeah, it's been disrupted over the couple of days. But Ricky, we've just got to be adaptable and just get on with it,
Yeah. You mentioned about going to the Barnsley game on last Tuesday. Is that something that you regularly do and your coaches as well? Especially when there are multiple games in a midweek and you're not playing.
Yeah, whenever possible, I can get out to see a game. I'll go and see a game. I won't hesitate at all to go and see a game. Something that I'll always do, because for your own purposes, you're able to see things individually as yourself, your own development, your own understanding. So, and sometimes you've got to be in the arena to see it at the time, and things will happen at the time to help with your understanding. So wherever possible I can get to see games, then I'll get out and see games. The way that our program is, Ricky, over the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks, with Sky taking over, viewing some of our games, and it being on a Sunday or a Wednesday or a Friday, it presents opportunities for me to get out on designated nights on a Tuesday or on a Saturday to see some more games. So I will take that opportunity when I can and where I can to go and watch as many games as I can over these next few weeks and use it for my own purposes.
I was going to say something we spoke about recently was having these blank midweeks, but they're kind of drying up now, I guess, aren't they? I think you play next Friday, then it goes, like you just said, Tuesday, Sunday, Wednesday, whatever.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, we go, like you said, next Friday, Tuesday, then Sunday, so those are, we've been apt to be adaptable with our training program for this month because of the games that's been moved around. But again, we're adaptable to it, and we're prepared for it, and we understand these things happen in football, and we're ready for it really as a group, and we take it all in our stride, enjoy the moment, enjoy the what they present, but look forward to it as a group of players really, and supporters of the football club going forward.
Just wanted to ask you about Portsmouth's manager, because obviously I think he's one of the youngest, if not the youngest. I think he's 36. When you were 36, I think you were still playing, weren't you?
Yeah.
Barnsley or Burton.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about that. I mean, were you surprised at the not only the fact that he's jumped into it at 36, but you know, the fact that Portsmouth have given him the chance at that age as well?
No, excellent really, and credit to John, and well done for obtaining the position. And for a first time job at a wonderful football club, knowing Portsmouth, credit to him, but it shows the level where John's at. And you know, somebody that I know really, really well. He's a wonderful character, John. Really, really good. Certainly, he braces everybody in the room when he's in the room. We're really clear with his views, and obviously got a wealth of experience, being a former player, and took the opportunity at Portsmouth. But not only taking the opportunity, Ricky, he's put his stamp on it really, and on the football club, because settling the football club down and the fan base, and giving them real purpose and focus and a vision, but also bringing a style of play on the pitch really where everybody's connected with down there. So credit to him, and at the age of 36, as he said, for me, I was still playing, probably still either I was at I think I was at Burton Albion, then still playing back in the day then really. So it goes to show you, in terms of footballing management, he's got youth on his side, but he's got a wealth of experience in terms of playing, and that you're able to connect with a group of players. Having not played, I think he was on the bench for Oxford even this season, named as a sub this season. So it just goes to show that you know, in terms of age of the manager, he's relatively young, but he's full of real freshness and vigour, which he seems to be bringing to the club at this moment in time.
Good stuff. Cheers, Darren. Safe journey, Darren.
Thanks, Ricky. Cheers.
Hi, Darren. I think I can say afternoon now. Afternoon.
Afternoon, Stu.
Plymouth are due up in South Yorkshire this weekend, so who knows if they're going to be playing, but we certainly know you're going to be playing first next weekend with the Friday night game. Can getting points on the board, can that just have an effect in terms of just applying a bit of pressure to Plymouth in this case?
Yeah, I suppose so. You can look at it like that, Stu, but for me, it's just about getting the points on the board for our own purposes, really. And I really don't deviate away from my concerns for us as a football club. And yes, I know that, again, that's the outside noise, that it can be deemed that way. But for me, it's just about getting the points on the board and trying to be as much competitive and be in the arena in competing for those points available. And that won't stop really in terms of that competitive edge that we've got. And come Friday night, when the game comes round to it, we'll have that opportunity to do so.
And just in terms of the things you've been talking about, in terms of Josh driving around the houses, the staff clearing the pitch, you've obviously got a good team spirit at the club. The league table tells you that. But how much do weeks like this just add to it, when everyone has to muck in to get training on, to get people in to catch the bus?
Yeah, and you're spot on, Stu, because that is part and parcel of, you know, where we've always implemented the same messages from day one here, that it's always been a together approach. And when mock days like this or weekends come like this, it's just a natural reaction to see everybody at the football club doing what they've done this week and being adaptable, where it's not been too much trouble really in terms of helping one another out and being there for each other. And I think I've definitely seen that this week in terms of the staff, you know, getting in, getting seen to the players, but getting out on the pitch with the ground staff and just really mucking in and really getting into the nuts and bolts of just trying to get a training session on for the players. So credit to them, you know, we thank them all. And again today, where, you know, we hit with these adverse weather conditions, and players just being adaptable, getting up early, recognising where one or two of the other players live and the difficulties that they have, and making sure that they get in really, which is credit to them really. So and it clears the pathway for us to make the journey south with everybody on board, going down there. So credit to everybody that's been adaptable over these last couple of days, and yes, it does show where we are as a football club in terms of mindset and mentality for each other.
And in terms of the wider team, the wider club, if I can call it that, obviously you guys are all professional. It's your job to get in. But as you've said, you'll have a big fan base down there who will have made, big sacrifices themselves to get down. How much will you be sort of emphasising that to the players in the dressing room on Saturday?
Yeah, always, because there's always that significance with the supporters, because obviously we know the hard week that they've had, and then obviously the weekend's travel, the commitment to come and support us, and it's such a long journey down there, but to be added with the weather conditions that we've been faced here in Sheffield is even more so, and that's why I've sent the message to make sure that they all get down there safe and well, because the conditions as well tomorrow by all accounts are not great from here. But also at the same time, it's not the fact of them coming down there, it's the way they sing their hearts out, and they get behind the boys, and it really does. We do hear you, we do appreciate you, and we do thank you all really for when you do get on the road, as much as we do thank the home support, the away support we do, and I'm thanking them all in advance now to get down there and come and support. And if they shouldn't get down there tomorrow, we totally understand with the weather conditions, so don't beat yourselves up, but if you are, then just get down there safe and well.
And I know that noise kind of comes, you can take it for granted when they're there, you get that every game, but it'll be important at Fratton Park, won't it, with the atmosphere that's there normally, and with Portsmouth on a roll, you'll need that noise, won't you?
Yeah, because I remember the last one away down at Charlton at the Valley, 3,500, that was superb right the way through the game, and we got the early goal, but they just kept that momentum going up all the way through to the final whistle, and that takes some doing. And though the numbers will probably be a little bit less at Fratton Park, we're still having a large away day following, and they've been superb, and I really look forward to seeing them all tomorrow, and the players down there. But it is really, really important, and we do appreciate it because we do hear them, and it's never taken for granted. So we look forward to catching up with them all tomorrow.
Great. Thanks very much, Darren. Safe travels and have a good weekend.
Cheers, Stu. Thanks, guys. Thank you.